I'm getting there. But I think in mine now, the battery power is
If you need one, go ahead and use that over there.
I use it because I really need to stay free on my USB drive.
It's time. Here is our pop quiz of the evening, our pop quiz for the evening. Number one, on the left-hand side, I'm going to have to give you a couple minutes for this. Number one, on the left-hand side, you see the decedent died. He had two children, or she had two children, and those two children predeceased the deceased. So all that are left are 1, 2, 3 grandchildren. You see grandchild 1 is C1's child, and grandchildren 2 and 3 are C2's child. Question number 1, how is decedent who dies intestate? How is decedent's entire estate distributed here in Texas? Texas, and that's 1A, Texas, and 2, how, if at all, would the distribution be different under the old English strict for stirpe system? So A is Texas, that's section 201.101, and B is also, well, it's also 201.001. Put these two together. And then D, how, if at all, would your answer be different under the English rule, strict for stirpe that we talked about last time? That's number 1. Problem number 2 is, go back to problem number 6 in your syllabus, problem number 6, and assume that C3, the deceased, that it's the intestate decedent, C3 owed the decedent money. That come out of the share of C3's 4 children who paid in C3's place. Would their share be offset by the amount of money owed to C3? Okay. That's just a yes. This is easy. This is a yes or no. This is distribute these two things. You've got 3 minutes. Go. All right. Texas rule and the English rule. Work them both ways and see if there's any difference. And this is a yes or no question. I'm going to start. You got 2. You got 2. You can do this fast. Write me emails, those of you who are coming in late, because I'm keeping track. If you're coming late too often, you're not going to lock that door when you're in this class. Yeah, just send me an email.
So if there's traffic,
Send me an email. If there's traffic, you just, no, now. You can do it now or after class. After class, it's fine. No, not while you're driving. Don't do that. Because I don't want you to die to come to get to class, right? No. But I do want to keep, I'm keeping track. If you're late too often, you and I are going to have to sit down with Dean talking about why you can't leave a little bit early. question 1A. 3 grandchildren, 1 by one child, 2 by this other child. How is the property distributed in Texas and Texas today? How is the intestate estate of the decedent distributed today? And not to bring back horrifying memories, how would it have been distributed in England in 1700? Does you remember England 1700 or Texas? You remember that? Okay. Yes, Mr. Oh, it's Mr. Navarro. Yes, Mr. Navarro. Right.
I believe that G1, G2, and G3 all take an equal share under 1A.
Okay.
Because they all stand on the same level.
Okay. Now tell me your authority.
My authority was, I think you told us last class.
That's true. So what do we call that rule? It's the modern American rule. It's exactly right. It's the modern American rule, and you'll find it in 201.101, subsection A, right? 201.101, subsection A, and it's when the children, this is grandchildren, descendants, this is when the descendants that stand in the same degree of relationship alone come into distribution of the intestate estate. They take per capita, which means by persons. You're exactly right. Equally 1, 2, 3. Now, how if it all? And this is what I'm going to test you on the final exam. It won't be this easy, but I'm going to test you on this on the final exam. I'm not going to test you on the English rule, just to make sure you understand the difference. How, if at all, would the English rule have been different than strict per stirpes?
I believe the strict per stirpes, they would be entitled to what their parents were entitled to. So G1 would take 1/2 share, and G2 and G3 would take 1/2 of 1/2, which would be 1/4 each.
That's exactly right. So, in the Texas rule, each stand in the same degree, each takes 1/3. In the English strict per stirpe, so you can see the difference, you can't ignore a generation. The Texas rule, under the Texas rule, we go and look for the first generation where there's surviving heirs, and that's where we make the distribution. That's where we make the cut. That's where we make the division, not the distribution, the division into shares. In England, the English rule, and I guess some states still follow the old English rule, you can't ignore any generation, even if they're predeceased, as long as they leave surviving descendants. So you would have made the cut up here, 1/2, G1, as Mr. Navarro correctly said, would take C1's 1/2, and G2 and 3 would split. C2's 1/2, that's 1/4 and 1/4 each under the English rule. But I'm not going to test you on the English rule. I just want you to see how that is different. Okay, problem number 6. You have to look back at problem number 6. C3 predeceased the decedent, but left 3 children, G4, G5, and G6. If C3, at the time of C3's death, if C3 owed money to the decedent, to his mother or father, would that, and never paid it back, and later died, and now C3's children inherit from D, take what would have been their father or mother's share, is there some kind of offset? How would that be taken into account, if at all, in G4, G5, G6's share? Would their share be offset at all? No, you're shaking your head no, Mr. Brand. Why not?
Because they take it in substitution?
That's right. Not through in any way. They take it in substitution. And what's your authority on that?
The case we read last week.
And what was the case? Well, yeah, some people read it last week. Some people probably read it 2 weeks ago. I understand that fully, that you forgot the case. Powers v. Morrison, right? Powers versus Morrison. That was the exact issue in the case. And the court held no, that even if the father's share, it was father, would have been, he owed his father, he borrowed money from his father, even if the father's share, if the father had inherited, might have been offset from his share. If he was going to get $10,000 and he owed $1,000, he would only get $9,000. That's not sure at all. The court said, we're not confronted with that. Even if that were the case, we're not going to offset anything. We're not going to offset that $1,000 against G4, G5, G6 this year because they didn't know their grandfather any money, and they aren't taking, in effect, from their father. There's not 2 inheritances here. They're not inheriting twice. They're inheriting directly from their grandfather in substitution for their father. So that is what I wanted you to know about that. I forgot to mention that the other night, so I thought we would just mention that today. Question about that? All right. Let's talk about finished through problem 11, correct? Yes, all right. So now in problems 12 and beyond, there are no surviving spouse and there are no descendants. So the question is, if the decedent leaves no descendants, we're talking about the intestate decedent, then if the decedent leaves no descendants, then we know the parents take if the parents survive. And that's true in most states. That's certainly true in Texas. If the parents don't survive or don't both survive, then the siblings, if there are surviving siblings, or the surviving descendants of siblings, take the representation, right? The surviving descendants taking by right of representation. Okay, we're going to see that in the next few problems. But beyond that, if there are no descendants, if there are no parents, if there are no siblings or descendants of siblings of the intestate decedent, if none of those people survive, then there is a fair amount of variation from state to state as to who takes. And there are two main systems of inheritance when, if I die intestate, survived by no spouse, no parents, no siblings or descendants of siblings, and no descendants of my own, then there are two main ways that heirs are determined. One is degree of kinship, where closer heirs, or more closely related heirs take over heirs that are more distantly related. And two is the so-called parentelic system that basically, well, what is, I told you what the degree of kinship is. What is the parentelic system? And which system does Texas have? And what's your authority for that? What does it mean? What does parentelic system mean? What does that mean to you? Did I spell that right? Yes. Okay. Parentelic system. Fire mentioned this. I'll just ask you this. Which system does Texas have? You got a 50-50 shot. What? The parentelic system. Yes, Texas has follows the parentelic system. Okay. Can you show me in the statute why? Our intestacy statute. Where would I find this? Where would I look? Which statute would I look at? 201.001, exactly right. That's where we've been. That's where we were last time. That's where we are again tonight. You know it. You love it. You can't get enough of it. Maybe you can get enough of it, but we'll do our best to see that tonight. Okay. And how do you know Texas follows the parentelic system? Where would I look? What subsection? Subsection F, and then you've got then how it works goes in G and H. Exactly right. So F, if none of the kindred described by subsections B through E survive, and that is descendants, that is parents, that is siblings or descendants of siblings, survive the person, that's the intestate, then the person's estate shall be divided into two moieties, two halves, that's the old French word for half, with one moiety passing to the person's paternal kindred, that's to the grandparents and their descendants on the father's side, and the other moiety passing to the person's maternal kindred, that's the maternal grandparents and the descendants. And we'll talk more about a little bit more of that in a moment, as provided by subsection H. Subsection G really sets it out, how these things pass, who it goes to, and in what order. Subsection G says, and for the maternal kindred, look at subsection H says, look at subsection G, right? Did I get that backwards? Subsection G tells us how the paternal kindred path moiety passes. Subsection H says, for the maternal kindred, just look at it. Look at G. It passes just the same way. All right, we're going to see tonight how that is. Okay, we use the parentelic system. By the way, Uniform Probate Code, for better or worse, and generally, as I say, you're not responsible for the Uniform Probate Code. I generally will not mention the Uniform Probate Code, but occasionally I want to mention it every now and then just to let you know kind of the difference. The Uniform Probate Code uses the parentelic system, but it only uses the parentelic system to the level of grandparents and their descendants. So, who is a descendant of my grandparents? who would be, just name someone who would be a descendant of my grandparent who's not my parents, so I'm only up to the grandparents if my parents are gone. So who might be a descendant of my grandparents who might be a descendant of my grandparents who's not me, not my descendants, not my parents? Uncles, aunts, cousins, right. Not nieces and nephews. Not nieces and nephews, right? Uncles, aunts, cousins, right. Exactly right. So that's it. So, the Uniform Probate Code only goes to the level of grandparents and not beyond that. So that would be aunts, uncles, cousins, first cousins once removed, first cousins twice removed, but not second cousins, not third cousins, not fourth cousins. We'll talk about how we count all those things. And the Uniform Probate Code says if there aren't those relatives, then the estate escheats. What's escheat? What did we say? What estate escheats? What is it? It goes back to state. It goes back to state. Exactly right. And the reason the Uniform Probate Code does this as a policy matter, and in some states, a good number of states have adopted the Uniform Probate Code in whole or in part, have adopted this provision of it. They would rather have, as a policy matter, the estate escheat than have laughing heirs inherit. What's a laughing heir? Fire talks about for a laughing heir. Just generally what's a laughing heir, and then we'll talk about what the Uniform Probate Code does.
Dies, you know you're getting it, so you're laughing all the way to the bank.
That's exactly right. Some unheard of decedent dies, and I'm their heir, and I had no idea. I never met the person, but I'm getting 10,000 grand, and I'm laughing all the way to the bank. I don't care. Someone who probably isn't close enough to the deceased to feel any sense of bereavement. Now, again, maybe a laughing. Listen, I have second cousins. I have third cousins that I'm reasonably close to, and I'll bet a number of you all do too. And if I want them to inherit in a Uniform Probate Code state that would classify them as laughing heirs, I'd have to have a will that would put them in it. That's all it is. Remember, they're trying to figure out what the average intestate decedent would want, and the Uniform Probate Code thinks it's a policy matter. Laughing heirs, it's better for everyone in the state to take it, right? Escheat to the state. It benefits all of us, and benefit laughing heirs. I think some people would probably maybe agree, maybe not agree. Do we have laughing heirs in Texas? Do we cut it off, or do we let the fifth cousin 8 times removed who never heard of the person inherit from the intestate decedent if that's the closest heir? We do. We don't have laughing heirs in Texas. In fact, I think there was a bill 2 years ago introduced in the legislature to cut off laughing heirs at some point. It depends on how we define it. The Uniform Probate Code, aunts, uncles, first cousins, and first cousins many times removed, that they inherit. Anyone more distant, second cousins, third cousins wouldn't inherit. I think that's cutting off a little too close if you ask me. But in any event, Texas does permit laughing heirs to inherit. We'll talk more about that when we do these problems in just a moment. All right. I think let's do the problems in just a moment. Let's do the problems right now. We've got problems 12 through 19, not including the 2, 20 and 21, 2 half-blooded air problems. We'll do those separately in a little while. Why don't you, 8:20. Break into small groups, please. I'll walk around as I usually do, causing trouble, spreading merriment and trouble wherever I go. Raise your hand if you've got any questions. Let's see, I think you can do these fairly fast. Let's see how 15 minutes goes, okay? 15 minutes for problems 12 through 19. Work problems 12 through 19 in your small groups, please. And I'll walk around and we'll see where we are in 15 minutes, okay? Yes, it doesn't cut off. It does not cut off. I mean, your 8 cousins 15 times removed can inherit next to it, wouldn't it?
I'm not now.
They would define that as laughing heirs. We'll talk more about
Carlos,
that.
yeah. Did you do these ahead of time, or?
I did 12.
You did 12? Okay.
All right, let's do
go
12.
here.
Okay.
Let's do 12. Okay, let's do 12.
Spouse, person's preceding decedent spouse, all 3 children, 6 grandchildren, father, brother. mother.
Just look at who survives, yeah. Just look at
Oh,
who
okay,
survives.
yeah. So,
Mother, sister, niece, and nephews.
mother would get,
Sister gets,
alright.
no, and the one and two.
Only the
Real
person's
property.
father or mother survives the person. The person's estate shall
Sorry, I'm sorry.
be divided into two equal portions, with one portion passing to the surviving parent and one
So that's,
portion
yeah.
passing to the person's siblings and the siblings' descendants.
So
And,
the mother gets,
or the surviving descendants of any deceased sibling, which we have here.
so mother gets 1/2
And then the
due to
other half
201D, 201-001D1A. Okay, and then other kids get, oh, they're the siblings. Yeah. They get,
mother and sisters. 1, 2, 3, 4 siblings. Right?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Wait, no. Yeah, 2 sisters, 1 brother and sister. Okay, oh, yeah, so 4 siblings.
so mom gets half. The other half divided evenly amongst
The siblings.
sister 2 and the kids of the 2 brothers and sister 1. Is that about?
Yeah, okay. Okay, so sister 2 is still alive, right? So she gets 1/8.
Her kids don't get anything because she gets.
Yeah, okay.
They're dead, so their kids inherit.
So they split it all up evenly,
They
1/4.
only had 1 kid each.
Okay.
So they split the 1/2 by 4.
Okay.
So they get 1/8. So N1 and 4 and 5 get a quarter, and S2 gets a quarter.
Oh, okay. They all get 1/4.
1/8.
Oh, 1/8. Oh, okay. Alrighty.
Fourth of the half.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Because the mother gets 1/2. Okay.
Yeah.
And if she wasn't alive, they'd get like 1/4 each.
If she wasn't alive, then we go to a different part of the room.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, I think, the next problem.
Okay. Let's go.
All right. So 13, spouses deceased.
Yeah.
So you got sister 2, all 5 nieces and nephews, brother 1, 2. Okay. So spouse is dead. Mother and father are dead. Right.
This.
One portion passes to certain siblings and siblings. If neither the person's father nor mother survives the person's entire estate passes to the person's siblings and the siblings of the deceased. So you got a decedent or a sister and nieces and nephews.
Okay, so this is what this one looks like. It's N1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then S sister 2 is still alive.
Yeah. So
Okay.
It's the same as the previous.
Yeah. So is this exactly the same or?
Well, the same result.
Oh, but the mother is deceased too, right? But both. Okay.
Same. Yeah. Quarter each, but quarter of the whole, not. Never mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Not a quarter of the half.
Okay. That was actually pretty doable.
So
Alrighty.
1/4. All right. So 14. All 5 nieces and nephews. Brother 1, 2.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So is that 14? Is that?
Oh, so this would all be one we divide it by 5, right?
Yeah, so on 14,
Number 14, I know, I was just talking to them about 14, so go ahead.
So there's just
we're
5.
discussing earlier, because they're all at the same level. Is that the correct terminology?
That's it. They're at the same level, at the same generational level, they all stand in the same degree. Incidentally, what degree are they? Nieces and nephews. What
Yeah,
degree is that?
that's in terms of the Ulster
In terms of
chart.
the chart, yeah.
Yeah.
Third degree. Yes, it's third. Count up to the common ancestor. That's parents, then count down. And count down.
So 3rd degree.
It is third.
Okay.
And they all stand in the same degree level. They're in the same degree or the same generational level alone that they'll take per capita. Well, see, it means there are no other people to inherit. There's not anyone in a generational level above them. Okay? It could be below them, but not above them. That's it. That's what alone means.
So they divide everything by 1/5. Okay.
That's it, because there are 5 of them. Exactly right. Exactly.
Okay.
And you see why. It's perfect. That's it. So, yeah.
And then we're basically all working out of F201001F. Or D.
Well, we started at D, and I think we're working our way down.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I see. Very nice. Alrighty, 15.
15.
Oh, jeez.
Well, they're all. That's fine. I don't know. They're all.
They get a half and a half, so they get a point.
Okay, yeah, I was.
On the maternal side, there was a maternal grandmother who gets a half of a half, so she gets a
So
point.
it's just basically mother there, and sister two.
So is paternal uncle, is that like the husband's brother, or the husband's uncle?
What?
The paternal aunt and paternal uncle?
Alright, hold on.
Sorry if I'm asking like ridiculous questions.
No, I was just looking at it.
Okay. Paternal grand. Okay.
The other heirs that remain. What about the nieces and their sister too? No, she doesn't.
So would paternal aunt, is that like the father's brother, or the father's brother?
Maternal.
So where would it be paternal uncle?
Paternal uncle. Paternal uncle.
Okay, so it would be like his brother or sister or something?
So it would be their father's
brother. Okay, that makes sense.
No, I think it's, what does it say? She died. She got two kids. They share. Not leaving the pay. And surviving parents. Or siblings.
Okay.
Or if there's no siblings, then it's all.
Okay.
Just do. Don't even listen. Why do you have to kill him? Don't even write these people. Don't even write these people. Unless the only time it is, like, one, right here, it has to have two children. And so that's important because you have.
So you kind of divide it in half, right? So like this half gets one half. Oh, sorry. So this half gets one half, and this half gets one half. Like this is the maternal, this is the paternal.
Well, 15. So they're both on the maternal side, right?
Well, but you have the paternal uncle and aunt, right? Who are still alive for 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I was talking about the cousins.
Oh, okay.
So I was thinking, do you go to the aunt and uncle if there are cousins still alive? All right, maternal
Well, you
grandmothers.
could look at that book, if they're cousins, you go by the grandparents. That's what I would have to.
Yeah.
Grandfathers are there.
So,
And that goes to the maternal aunt. And I think about like Nana was meant to be.
yeah, maternal grandmother.
Does she get?
Grandfather. Maternal grandmother. Maternal grandfather. Okay. The only one that's still alive is maternal grandmother. So they're dead, they're dead, they're dead.
Okay, would it be different if they were
So,
Yeah, that's just like when I went to the library, they were
at that time?
so yeah, Pleiades, but one side is
That was a little American.
So
Yeah, that's what we did, that's all.
oh, okay. So the maternal grandmother gets like one half from they don't, or
I don't know.
oh,
And then without her children, so it would be, Kate.
Yeah.
The whole divided by, the Charles Taylor three,
Five more minutes.
that
All right, 5 more
split
minutes.
to the two.
15 more minutes. No, five.
Rather than going to the grandmother, it goes to the.
And all the these
Yeah, I'm not there
Huh?
yet. I'm not there yet.
they're gonna get,
Just making sure about that.
they're gonna get,
Well, that's
I put them in one
they're
heck.
going to get, first my father, mother survived. These are the ones that the entire state. The entire state has one person.
And that's it.
And the other person is seven.
Yeah,
So
but
divide the
when
A by
we do, if you come up on an exam,
sister
you'll
and
know.
the remaining nephew, and nieces, but not that sister.
Subsection
So
F.
five,
Grandparent,
three,
four.
four. It's the whole.
This stepchild.
I know, I do that, I try to make my house. No, I was gonna be like, you try, but this is, I do not. No, the rule is,
Show me where it says stepchild.
adopted them. That's not a stepchild anymore, though. It's a child. That's a good point. You don't know what a stepchild is?
You can't have cat
No,
children.
I have no your wife actually.
You might have with children. You can't have
So that would be like, if I got divorced and got remarried and that wife had kids.
all those blood brothers. If you didn't
So
adopt
funny, I could visit them like they were 4 hours.
and if you love them so much, you never adopt them.
And it's a day. So, I got 3 hours to shoot kids. Like my kids. My two.
All right, 4 more minutes.
We need a 24. That's for the half. But we want to start back over. They're not my, we want to do it, meaning they're my stepchildren. But they are half.
We'll do a quick one here.
Well, but we want to do a quick one as a team. Make sure we understand my husband, all 5 of his. We're going to do all type of.
Well,
Yeah, we just really.
really dig it. I got some.
That's okay, that's okay.
No, I'm not talking about the camera, a couple of nights. What if we change the back?
How many people could die? So this year,
I think that's
is just one. And then the niece and nephew are 4.
I didn't give you.
That's what I think, that's what I think.
It is a church.
No, you're fine.
Can I ask you if I'm right?
Yes, maybe I'm a math problem.
Does it go to the state?
No, sister 2, and all 5 of the nephews. So you take away 5 by sister 2 is 3, plus sister was 4.
Eternal, yeah.
Okay, so sister 5 is my first nephew. 2 goes to nephews, 1 sister. So she goes there, they don't get, because they're going to the sister. It's like sister. And then the nieces are 4.
And then the two get one,
So they split the whole thing.
the sister two with the half sister.
Get it that way.
Which I think is half.
Well, because it's not like with other things where it's like, oh, she's gonna do it.
Are you on 16 or?
Maternal grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maternal aunt and uncle get
But it's like how they come. The other one.
That's what I had originally. I came up with 2 different answers. First yours, and then I gave the maternal grandmother like a half, and then everybody else an eighth. Does that make sense? Because if so, right here, this 201 person's paternal grandmother survives, the person's estate shall be divided in 1 portion surviving the grandparent, and 1 portion passing to the descendants of the grandparent.
Each grandparent has a portion.
Oh, okay, okay. So the first way is the okay. Nice. Never question yourself. No, maybe you should. I don't know.
All right, you got about 1 more minute. 1 more minute.
Cool. So then 6 would be. So 16, I think, is a little bit easier. Once we got that.
We're back in Elliot.
Yeah, that's a half sister only, she's the only half sister. Even though she's on the same level.
This one, if no
In 19, I think it goes to, it's nothing, so I don't really know where it's, I guess it's.
nothing of the same.
Gets it to the state, but I don't think it gets the whole authority.
Just means one has. In the question.
It's not an estoppel adoption.
No more paternal. These 2 will receive 1 half and 1 half. 1 fourth.
Okay, so what is?
By this,
Okay, so he has no family on his side.
you're gonna have
split it, had it split.
But no, it's not.
All right, we about ready? Are we as ready as we'll ever be? No? All right, this is the chart, this is the family tree for, problems 12, 13, and 14. So in 12, who's dead? Father's dead, sister 1 is dead. I think that's all, right? And number 12, oh, brother 1 and brother 2. B1, okay? So the deceased died survived by mom and survived by 1 sister and then survived by a total of 5 nieces and nephews. That's problem 12, and we'll kill some other people off, 13 and 14. All right, who takes and why? Where are we? What sections? What subsections are we in? And how do we apply it? So he wants to take problem 12, and it just and you know, fair warning. You know, I always have hypos. I'll say, what if we change the facts this way that are in the problem? So just get ready for that. Knowing that, who wants to take problem 12? You must want to take it because you're
I
right.
don't.
You don't.
I
You
don't.
don't. You're
I
right.
hear her saying, because you say you're going to change the hypo, she's like, oh no.
And then what do you say? I was ready to take it before that, but now I'm not. Okay, all right. Anyone want to do that? Oh, Miss Johnstone, you want to do that?
I'll do that one.
Thank you. All right,
Okay.
number 12. Thank you. All right.
Number 12.
All right. So where are we in the statute?
I believe we are in 201.001 D1.
Okay. So remember, we're in 201.001. We're in 201.001 because there's no surviving spouse, right? And we would be in 001B if there were any surviving descendants. But there aren't any. We're in C if the mother and father both survive. The mother and father haven't both survived. One of them's dead. The father's dead. We're in D if only the person's father or mother survives. Oh, here's where we are then. Okay, and you're exactly right. The person's estate shall, what do we do with it?
So D1 be divided into 2 equal portions with, in 1A, 1 portion passing to the surviving parent,
Okay.
and 1B, 1 portion passing to the person's siblings and or the siblings antecedents.
That's right. That's right. And the other portion passing to the person's siblings, and the and doesn't mean and, it means or to the surviving descendants of any predeceased sibling. That's what that means. That's right. All right. So that is exactly right. We haven't gotten down to E. We haven't gotten down to D2 yet. We're exactly in D1. We weren't in C. If both mother and father had survived, we would have been in C. Mother would have taken 1/2, and father would have inherited 1/2. We weren't there because dad died. So we're in D1, and under 1A, 1/2 goes to the surviving parent, and that's who here?
The mother.
Okay, so number 12, 1/2 goes to the mother. And how is the other? And then 1 portion, the other 1 portion, that's 2 equal portions, that would be 1/2, right? 2 equal portions are 1/2. You see that, right? 1 portion, and I know, I see, some people called me snarky, and I really didn't mean it that way tonight. Sometimes I do mean it that way, I fully admit that. But no, I mean 2 equal portions, that's a half. I want you to notice that. 2 equal portions, when we get down to subsection F, those 2 equal portions are called moieties. The legislators use a different word, so I don't know why they use different words when sometimes they mean some of the same things, but anyway, that's what it is. All right, so mother got 1/2 under D1A, and under D1B, Mr. Johnstone, how do we
So
divide it?
sister 2 and the children of brother 1, brother 2, and sister 1 all share equally in the 1/2, so they get 1/8 each.
Okay, and the other 1/2 goes to the siblings and to their descendants. And can you, I guess 001, 201.001 tells us who takes, but 201.101 tells us how they take. And you gave me the exact right answer, but can you show me the language in .101 that tells me you are right?
Is it still, I think it's A, is it?
Well, it's A and it's B too, right?
Yeah,
Because
okay.
A would tell us that if they all stood in the same degree of relationship alone, and what's the degree of relationship of siblings? Brothers and sisters. 2, that's right. Count up to the common ancestor, that's parents, 1 step, and then down to that generational level and its siblings, and down, that's another one. So it's 1, 2, right? Okay, so they'd be in the 2nd degree. So if sister 1, brother 1, and brother 2 were all alive, they would all take an equal share. They would each take, under subsection A, 201.101 subsection A, they would each take an equal share. They would take per capita. There are 4 of them. Each would take a quarter. But we're in subsection B because some of these people who come into the inheritance are living this level, that's 2, and some are dead. They leave surviving descendants. So when that happens, then subsection B, if some persons described by subsection A are dead and some are living, yep, that's what we're talking about. Each descendant of those persons who have died, the descendant would be S1, descendant of sister 1, descendant of brother 1 and brother 2, is entitled to distribution of the estate. Each descendant inherits only that portion of the property which the parent through whom the descendant inherits would be entitled if that person were alive, if that parent were alive. So how much would that parent have been entitled to? We already said a quarter of the 1/2. So it would be an 8. This would be an 8. This would be an 8. And this would be an 8. Therefore, who takes what?
Mother takes 1/2.
The other takes 1/2, right?
Yeah. And then
Sister 2, the surviving sibling, takes
1/8.
That's right. Which is 1/4 of the other 1/2. That's 1/8.
Mm-hmm.
This niece or nephew 1 takes
1/8.
the parents 1/8.
1/8.
4 1/8.
And
5 1/8. All right. Question about that and why? Again, on the final exam, I never expect you to cite a case name or a statute number. You don't have to do that. I'm doing it for you here in class. Why? So I can show you what the rule is. I do expect you to at least briefly and correctly state the rule and then apply the rule. That I do expect you to know, but I don't expect you to know that it came from 201.101 subsection A and then subsection B as applied through subsection B. No. I'm showing you that, okay, so you know how to apply. And I really am hoping, I know this is difficult stuff, but I'm hoping that it's starting to become second nature to you now so you don't even really need to, or by the time you get to the final exam, you won't need to look at the statutes. Okay, so that's number 12. Now let me ask you, Mr. Johnstone, what if the decedent were survived by the mother? Problem 12. Decedent survived by mom, but all these other people are dead. All these other people are dead. Let's kill everyone off. There are no siblings, and there are no descendants of siblings. Who would take and why?
So the mother would take the whole because of 201.001 D2.
That's exactly right. That we would be in 001 D2. If only the person's mother or father survives the person's estate shall, 2, be inherited entirely by the surviving parent if there is no sibling of the person or siblings descendants. There or actually means or. That's what those ands all meant before, right? Surviving descendants of siblings. So if we change the facts and only mother survived, then we'd be in D2, and mother would take it all. Or if father survived, then father would take it all. If there were only one surviving parent and no siblings or descendants of siblings, that is, no descendants of parents, then the surviving parent would take 100% of it. But here, where there are at least one or more siblings or descendants of siblings, then the surviving parent takes 1/2, and the siblings or their surviving descendants take the other half. Let's revive that. Let's keep everyone on, off. I don't care whether they're living, whether they're not living. Let's say decedent dies, survived by a bunch of siblings and descendants of siblings, nieces, nephews, etc., but mom and dad both survive. Who would inherit? If mom and dad, we change the facts to number 12 and we revise dad, so mother and dad both survive. Who would inherit?
Well, I think mom and dad would split it. Yeah.
And your
Because,
authority for that is?
001C.
That's right, subsection C, and I just alighted over that very fast. I touched that over that fast, but I want to make sure that you all see that. So you see the order, right? Descendants take first, then parents take if they're both alive. Subsection D tells us that if only one parent is alive, then that parent takes 1/2, and the other half goes to the siblings and their descendants, unless there are no siblings or descendants, in which case the sole surviving parent takes. That's D2 that we just talked about, and we only get down to we only get down to subsection E if the parents, if none of the parents is living. So, all right, so that's that. How about, you want to do number 13, as long as we're in the neighborhood?
Sure.
You're doing great.
All right.
Thanks. Okay, 13 we kill off mom, right? Who else do we kill off? Anyone? Is that it? Did we kill off sister 2 in number 13? 13 sister 2 or not?
Sister two's alive.
That's right. It's just number 13. It's just mom. Right. Just mom. All right. So we kill off mom. So where are we now? Which subsection are we in? Number 13. We kill off mom's dead, dad's dead. Nothing else changes. So what subsection are we in?
001E.
We're in 001E, exactly right. Neither the person's father nor mother survives the person. The person's entire estate passes the person's siblings and the siblings' descendants, that is, for the surviving descendants of any predeceased sibling. That's you already know that by now. So what do we do?
So,
Let me ask you this. Is the principle in number 13, problem number 13, is the principle for dividing under 201.101 A and B, 201.101, is the principle the same in 13 as it was in 12 once we factored out mom's 1/2?
yeah, it seems.
Yes. Same shape, right? Yeah. So, how does that, so tell me how that works. We divide it right here because there's one surviving sibling, second degree, and
You
therefore
get 1/4.
1/4, right? And then
1/4.
1/4 here,
1/4.
1/4 here,
And
and
1/4.
1/4 here. And that's just the way the facts fell. If there were 27 kids here, each would take 1/27 of this 1/4, right? So, let's see if there's anything. Oh yeah, in fact, I think I did say that. So I think I asked, what if child B2 had 2 children, 5 and 6? There's 6 and 5, right? Well, I've got them backwards. What if B2 had 2 children?
You divide the 1/4 by.
We would divide the 1/4 in half, right? So each would take an 8 if there were 2 of them. Okay. Question about that? So far, so good. So far, making sense. I mean, this has it's kind of difficult. It's not necessarily what everyone would intend, but every intestate decedent would intend or would want. But I think it has a certain logic to it, and I think we can all ultimately catch on. Okay, let me eliminate that. There's not. But brother 2 didn't have 2 children. Brother 2 just had 1 child. Okay, let's do this. Let's do number 14 now. You're doing great. You want to just keep
Sure.
Oh, okay. All right. 14. Now, who do we kill off? Mother and father are dead. Now S2. Now S2, right? Okay. Is that it? Yeah. That's the only other person that dies. Okay. In this one. All right. Number 14. We've got no siblings. We only have surviving descendants of the predeceased siblings, and there are 5 of them. So, what do we do in this case? We're still in subsection E, right? 001, subsection E. If neither person's father nor mother survives the person, and the person's entire estate passes to the siblings, there aren't any, and the siblings' descendants, that is, for the surviving descendants of any predeceased sibling, they're all predeceased, and they all have surviving descendants. Okay. So, now we flip back over to 201.101, which tells us how the heirs take. 001 tells us who takes, who the heirs are. 101 tells us how they take, how their shares are divided, how they're distributed, and we're in which section now?
101A.
We are in A, exactly right. They are all equal at this point. They all stand in the same degree alone. And again, that's the second degree. So they take per capita, and it means each one of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nieces and nephews take
1/5.
1/5. 1/5 each. That's how we divide the estate up. And number 14. Okay? Let me just ask you, just for fun, and this is fun. How would the result be different, if at all, under the English rules for stirpies in number 14? Okay, and if you get confused easily, just go like this, la 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 la, but quietly, please. And because I'm not going to ask you about the English rule, just want you to see the difference. Everyone takes 1/5 under the modern American rule. We ignore this generation completely. That's what point 201.101 subsection 8 tells us. All of them are in the same degree alone. How would it be different if we followed the English for stirpies rule?
So S1, B1, and B2 would all get a quarter.
It would be, this would be a quarter, a quarter, a quarter.
And the children of S2 would share a quarter,
We
or
share the
1/2.
quarter, split the quarter being an eighth and an eighth. You see the difference? This person would be better off, this person would be better off, these people would be worse off. Under the English rule. We don't have the English rule. We don't do it that way. We do it the modern American rule. We ignore this generation, we make the cut, we make the division into shares at the first generation where there are surviving heirs. In this case, it's nieces and nephews, and we treat them all the same. And then if they had children, but one of them predeceased, say, this is X and Y down here, 2 had predeceased, they'd all be 1/5, and these 2 would split this 1/5. But that didn't happen, right? But if they did, but we wouldn't, we'd never put it back up here. We'd make the division into shares at the first generation where there are surviving heirs. Question about that?
So it'd be 1/8 under the English rule
Yeah,
for
the
2 and
English
3.
rule would be a quarter, eighth, quarter, quarter. Can't ignore any of the generations under the English rule. I'm not going to do that. All right. What else? I guess that's probably all on that, Mr. Johnson. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's do problems 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Let's do 15 and 16 together. Oh, I've got to draw this up. Do I have to draw it up on the board? Maybe I should just project my. No, I'll draw it. I'll draw it. Hate this. And you're thinking, I know what you're thinking. You are thinking that I helped make these problems up and I deserve everything I get on it. Okay, problem number 15. Let's see, we've got on the mother's side, grandmother and grandfather, and this is the mother, here's the father. On the other side, we've got grandmother and grandfather, here's the father. Okay, and mother and father have kids, and no, they don't. They only have one kid. Everyone else. It's not like the decedent is still living, but if we didn't have the decedent, if he hadn't been living a second ago, we wouldn't have this problem. All right, but these people, grandmother and grandfather, there's an aunt and an uncle here, and on this side, there is, on the mother's side, there's also aunt and uncle, and there's a cousin down here. There's 2 cousins down here. 2, 1, 2. Cousin, cousin, cousin. Is that about right? Is that right? Okay, good. Okay? All right, that's what we've got. So the decedent is dead. Mother and father are dead. And whom do we have in number 15? Let's see. Okay, we've got maternal grandmother. She's alive. dead, 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 right? And then, let's see. Is that right? Yeah. The paternal uncle never had any children. Okay. This person's dead, and let's see, a paternal aunt. This person's alive. Okay. Then on this side, did I get that right? No, no. Yeah.
I think everybody's alive except for the grandparents.
No, that's all right. Number 15. Let's see. Oh, you know, I was looking at 16. You're right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Mother and father died. All siblings take them out. Spouse, all three children take them out. Paternal grandmother, paternal grandfather, maternal grandfather all died. Maternal grandmother's living. Okay. Surviving. All these other people are alive. That's right. I'm sorry. Right. All these other people alive. The uncle and these cousins. Yes. Now I got it. What happens when I look down at problem 16 and start putting more people on? I'm getting too quick on the trigger here. Okay. All right. Problem 15. So who takes and why and how, and remember, of course, that I'll probably throw a hypho at you. Variations. All right, Ms. Brand, do you want to help me out on this one, please? Thank you very much. Uh-oh.
This one's maternal, aunt and uncle will both receive 1/4.
So where are we, by the way? Which section or
Subsection G.
Okay, well, we get there via subsection F. I'm going to tell you, in the old days, under the old probate code, can you imagine this? Subsections F, G, and H were combined into one subsection. It was like virtually impossible to read. So to the legislature's credit, they made it a little easier to read when they recodified it. So we're in subsection F initially, right? If none of the kindred described by subsections B through E survive the person, the intestate decedent, then the person's estate shall be divided into two moieties, two halves, with F1, one moiety passing to the person's paternal kindred, as we're going to tell you in a moment, in subsection G, and 2, one moiety passing the person's maternal kindred is provided in subsection H. When you get to subsection H, H says the moiety passing the person's maternal kindred passes in the same order and same manner as the other moiety passes to the decedent's paternal kindred under subsection G. So G is really going to tell us how to divide these things, right? Because H just says, look back at G, or the mother's side. All right. So we divide this into two moieties, two halves, one going on the mother's side and one going on the father's side. That's what subsection F tells us. Okay.
And on the paternal side, since both grandmother and grandfather are dead, you go to subsection 3.
Okay. And G, so we're on the paternal side. G3 tells us that neither the person's paternal grandfather nor grandmother survived the person, then the moiety passing to the decedent's paternal kindred, that one half, passes to the descendants of the person's paternal grandfather and grandmother, the descendants, okay, and so on without end, passing in like manner to the nearest lineal ancestors, their descendants. We'll get back to that. Okay, so this one half passes to their descendants. How would it pass to their descendants? How many descendants are there living?
There's 2 living.
Okay, 1, 2.
So they would receive.
They stand in the same degree alone. 201.101 subsection A, they stand in the same degree to the decedent, which is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And up the common ancestor and down to the descendant. I'm not going to ask you to calculate the degree of relationship on the final exam. Just so you need to do it, you could. All right, they stand in the same degree alone, an aunt and uncle, so each takes an equal share. That's per capita, and that is 1/2 of the 1/2, or 1/4 of the total estate. Okay, 1/4 of the total estate. 1/2 each takes 1/2 of that moiety. 1/2 of that 1/2, or 1/4. All right, on the other side, on mother's side,
Grandmother
H throws us back into G. So where are we?
We start at F, obviously.
Right.
Drop us down to H, which actually throws us back up
to
to
G. That's right. And G, we're in G which? So,
since grandmother is alive, that puts us into A.
that's right. We're in G2. If only the person's paternal grandfather or grandmother survives, and H tells us with the maternal, we do it the same way, so H throws us, as you say, back into G, and only one of them would survive, that's the grandmother that survives, only one survives, then the person's estate shall be divided into 2 equal portions. Now let me stop, the person's estate shall be, they mean estate, they mean 100%, they mean the moiety, don't they? They mean the half that we've already divided into under subsection F. Easy, simple, drafting. It's horrifying. Why did they use the word estate? Why did they say the moiety that we just told you about shall be divided? They didn't say that. They said estate, which makes for a lot of confusion. But the word estate there in subsection G2 means the moiety, means the half that we've already divided it into. So that shall be A, divided into 2 equal portions, meaning that half is going to be divided again in half. Okay, that's a quarter, and and how will it pass?
Maternal grandmother will receive 1/4 of total estate.
That's right. 1 portion passing to the surviving grandparent. That's 1 portion. That is 1/2 of the moiety. That's 1/2 of the half. That's a quarter. She gets a quarter of the entire estate, just like those people do there. And the other portion,
Maternal
that's the
aunt
other
and
quarter.
uncle are both alive.
I'm sorry, what?
Maternal aunt and uncle are both alive.
They're both alive. That's right.
So they would receive 1/2 of the 1/2 of the 1/2. So that's 1/8.
That's it. It's 1/8. 1/2 of the 1/2 of the 1/2. That's right. The 1/2 of the 1/2 of the moiety, which is 1/2 of the 1/4, which is an 8. Exactly right. An eighth, quarter. Okay. Now, let me ask you this. What do I want to ask? What if we, let's see, where am I? Okay. What if both the grandparents were alive on this side? If both the grandparents were alive.
Then the grandparents receive the moiety.
That's right. So if, say, change the facts in this problem, and let's say that both grandmother and grandfather, let's revive grandfather again, grandfather, C's grandfather, was alive. Then, if both of them were alive, we would be in G1, if both paternal grandparents or maternal grandparents survive the person, equal portions, equal halves of that moiety of that half would pass to the person's paternal grandfather and grandmother. Each would take a quarter. But since only one of them is alive, therefore, that one takes the quarter, and the other quarter, grandfather's quarter, passes, as we've just said. We've got 2 people here. Each one takes 1/2 of that quarter, the other quarter, which is the half of the quarter. Simple, straightforward. Don't give me that look. It's hard. I know it's hard, right? But easy. They'd be selling it at Walmart, right? Okay. As my dad would say. My dad always says, if this were easy, they'd be selling it at Walmart, right? You're glad they don't sell it at Walmart, right? This way, that's because you here know this stuff. Okay. What else do I want to say about that? That's probably all that I want to say about that. And number 16, okay, that's 15. Number 16, who do we kill off? Grandmother? Is that it? Maternal, let's see, grandmother, and let's see, now grandmother's dead, paternal aunt is dead, and paternal uncle's dead, right? Yeah. Is that right? Yes, no?
Paternal aunt's alive.
Yeah, paternal aunt's alive. Paternal aunt's alive. There's only one person on dad's side alive. That's the aunt, and then the we're killing off the grandmother, and we're killing off the aunt on mother's side, right? So uncle survives on mother's side. 3 cousins survive on mother's side, and the only person surviving on the father's side is the aunt. Correct? This out. Okay. So where are we now, Mr. Graham?
You're going to be in the same section we were before with all the jumping through the hoops.
Jump through the hoops, and it'll throw us back into subsection G. What subsection of G?
Well, for the paternal aunt that's still alive,
Yeah, for the paternal aunt who is
you're
still
going to be in subsection 3.
That's right. We're in subsection 3. We're in G3, 201.001, G3. If neither the person's paternal grandfather or grandmother survives the person, then the moiety passing, that's that 1/2, passing to the decedent's paternal kindred passes to the descendants of the person's paternal grandfather and grandmother. Here there's only one of them. She gets the whole 1/2. Congratulations. Right? Okay. What about the half that would go to the mother's side?
Since grandmother and grandfather are dead, it would fall in the line.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 siblings,
Mm-hmm.
so.
We divided here, the first generation where there are survivors, there would have been 2, so each takes 1/2 of a half or 1/4, right?
So uncle gets 1/4,
Uh-huh.
and child 1 and 2, which are the descendants of maternal aunt,
The predeceased maternal aunt.
both get 1/8.
That's right. They each get 1/2 of the 1/4, or 1/8 each. An eighth and eighth, that's 2/8, that's a quarter, plus a quarter, 2 quarters, that's 1/2. Here's the other half. You know, just check your math, you can just add it back together and make sure it adds up to a whole. All right, let's see. If time permits, time not permitting, you know what, let me do this anyway. What if this situation? Suppose there are surviving great-grandparents on one side of the decedent's family, as well as surviving descendants of the decedent's grandparents on the same side of the family. So let us suppose, for example, that these people are all dead on Dad's side, on the paternal side. But suppose that great-grandparents were both alive, or all 4 of them were alive. There would be 4 on this side. So all 4 of the great-grandparents are alive. Would the great-grandparents take their direct ancestors before the aunt or uncle take? No, why not? What's your authority for that? And you're right, that has come up before, and the cases say no, that the descendants of the nearest ancestors take in preference to direct ancestors that are more remote. So we have to exhaust grandparents' descendants before we go up to the great-grandparents or descendants of the great-grandparents' more distant cousins. Okay. What can you kind of see where it says that? Subsection G kind of indicates that, and it's been interpreted that way. Actually, subsection G3 has some language that makes that clear. Reasonably clear. I think it's reasonably clear.
It passes the descendants of the person's paternal. In other words, it goes down instead of up.
Well, yes, and it says, and so on without end, passing in like manner to the nearest lineal ancestors and their descendants, right? That'd be grandparents. And if there's no people here, you go up to the great-grandparents and their descendants, because now you're in the second cousins and further. And if none there, then you go up to the great-great-grandparents and their descendants. I guess third cousins and further. And great-great-great-grandparents at some point were in lacking years, right? Does that make sense? Wouldn't it be better off if we all took part of it? We knew the decedent just as well as some of the as maybe that 8th cousin 5 times removed. That is not at all, but that's not anything else. Okay, so that is 15 and 16, and let's see. And by the way, if there are no grandparents, and we're almost out of time. We are out of time. You're thinking we're out of time. Yeah, you know what? We're out of time. Fine. We are out of time. When we come back, we are going to do 17, 18, 19. I have a few more little hypos and things to say. We will wrap up these problems. We'll do the half-blooded problems. Then what we've got things like adoption and non-marital children and stuff like that coming up, and I'll see how much of that we can get through on Thursday night. I told you to read through assignment 3, but I don't think you got it. But I'm hoping to get through assignment 2 at least by the end of class on Thursday. See you then. Thanks. Nice job, Mr. Brand. Who else helped me? Mr. Johnson, nice job. Who else? Other people were helping.
So since I waived my free pass, like we get an early pass next week for the whole class, I will achieve it to the entire group.
You'll delegate. How about that? That's